Hey Patreon backers, welcome to a Patrons Ask GN. Post your questions in the Patreon Discord. If you aren't there already, you can go to Google and type in how to connect Discord to Patreon and follow the steps and join it, and then post in the Ask GN section. So that's where I'll find your questions to answer. I won't get all of them, but I will do my best. First one is from Sean Devine, who says, a buddy got a reference 5700 XT, but when we put in a custom fan profile, it made the driver crash. No other settings changed. We replicated it 3 times. Has this been seen? Fan settings were, and then lists off some fan settings. No, that's expected behavior. Sadly, that's actually what happens. Not always, but I have seen it. Yes, this has been seen. It is something we've at some point probably talked about. I don't know. There's a ton of fan profile issues right now. I was just tweeting about it the other night, and because it was driving me crazy. I'm not even kidding. So, okay, I need to provide some perspective. When I do like a fan speed test on that card or something, that's a bad example, that's AMD. When I do a fan speed test on an NVIDIA card, and when I do a noise test on an NVIDIA card, I boot the desktop, I go to a fan profiling tool, I type in a percentage, I plot the numbers for the noise versus the RPM and the PWM response, and just for validation, I'll run a workload on it. And it's the same damn thing, because 30% is 30%. It shouldn't really care what the GPU load is. But I just spent an hour doing what should take me about 2.5 minutes on an NVIDIA card to profile an AMD noise level for an XFX thick boy card. So that was my night. But yes, that's expected behavior. My hope is that if I turn this into a big enough deal, AMD will actually do something about it, because I've complained lightly about it and privately to them for 2 years now, and sending texts and emails saying shit's broken doesn't seem to fix anything. So now we're going to go the more public route, and hopefully I can explore this in additional reviews and get an actual answer, because I hate wasting my time trying to make a fan spin the way it's supposed to spin, because 30% equals 30%. It doesn't equal 54% just because you launched Time Spy. Anyway, yes, that's sadly expected. Try updating your vBIOS and try updating the drivers. Hopefully that'll help. Alternatively, you could roll the drivers back, but vBIOS update's probably a good one. Meepsy says, I thought this was a good question for an Ask Gen episode. Mixing AMD and NVIDIA graphics, sorry about that. How bad is it? Upgrading the used market right now are very interesting to me. I'm on a tight budget, driving multiple monitors. I want to keep my old hardware, so what do? The common opinion is don't mix, but how bad is it really? I think I would agree with that. Exclusive multi-GPU was supposed to be so cool. And we did testing with it where you do AMD and NVIDIA, and you could do basically Sly Fire, I think I called it, SLI Crossfire. And it was really cool as a concept, but only, I think, one game ever actually implemented it. So anyway, that gave me some experience with mixing them. And the issue you run into is you now have all the driver issues of each vendor compounded into one system. And that can get really frustrating really fast, depending on what it is you're working with specifically. Now, if there's a card where it's basically only ever driving video to a display and not really driving gaming, maybe it's easier. I will confess I haven't tried this setup in quite some time, probably over 2 years maybe. So I'm not sure how bad it is at this point, realistically. But just based on experience in the past, personally, I would avoid that route because I fought it. And you just heard me like go into a mini rant about drivers. So then imagine what I sound like sitting in a room by myself at 4 a.m. trying to fix a damn driver for both video cards. It's probably going to be filled with a lot of non-advertiser friendly things. So my advice would be to isolate. You can realistically probably mix and match, but I don't like recommending it. Richie C77, will there be tater tots for Joe when he visits? If not, should get some frozen ones labeled for your toe. Yes, that was a very unfortunate thing for him to do. I think we publicly said he ran over it with a skateboard, but it was worse than that. He dragged a metal table over it. So yes, Joe did have tater tots. Actually, after we did our whole day of stream setup, we went to a bar and grill not far from here, specifically because I thought I remembered they had tater tots. It wasn't on the menu. We were really sad. and then we asked, and they were able to special make them for us. So Joe did get his tater tots. And for those of you wondering, what the heck, why is this a thing? Joe said he wanted tater tots during one of our streams. This was when he was in Florida, so he wasn't here. And then the whole chat started donating super chats, saying stuff about tater tots. C-Money says, I saw your video on the importance of QVL and RAM optimization. Does this also extend to SSDs, or is there a reason that motherboards have a QVL for SSD storage? I'm actually not sure. But I took your question and I sent it to Alan Malventano. He works for Intel these days, but he's a storage reviewer in his heart. He was a storage reviewer for a long time and was the best one in the industry. He'll answer it straightforward because it'll be not from an official position, but from a personal position. So I've sent your question over. If he answers it for me, I'll include it in the next one, or I'll just tag you in the Discord. Next one, VC Jester. How hard is it going to be for me to gain 363 points in Port Royal? Stepanzi is getting cocky with me, and I need to rip his ambient score. Running 380 watt VBIOS right now. Going to try 650 this fall, living in ND. My ambient can be minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's very difficult, but minus 40 might get you there. So just for perspective, Jay and I battled for basically 6 hours with LN2 over about 100 points, sometimes less. So it's not particularly easy. And CPU is not going to help you a lot. So that 6050 watt BIOS, that'll probably do it for you. You are going to need that cold temperature though. Nory says, even though Snowflake is the star of the show, we all noticed CFO Midnight made a cameo. Yes, she's made a few lately. Can you share fun facts about Midnite? Your first spelling is correct to answer that part of the question. Fun fact, Midnite, very specific, this is a good one. I'll do this one. Midnite very specifically likes Zaxby's chicken. So like sometimes, as cats do, she'll not really eat her normal food. And I want to make sure she eats, obviously. So if she's not eating it, every time this works, I drive to Zaxby's, and it's just a fast food chain for those of you who aren't familiar with it. And I order a chicken finger plate, and I peel all of the breading off of it, so that's a bit healthier. It's pretty healthy. I was just chicken at that point. And then she'll eat it. And she'll eat as much as I feel safe giving her until I'm like, okay, you've definitely had enough. I need to cut you off because you can't drive like that. So yeah, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's lightly salted or something, but she really likes the flavor specifically of theirs. It doesn't necessarily work for other fast food brands, but that one she likes. So that's a good tip for you too if you're a cat owner and your cat is ever just not eating and you don't quite know why. Sometimes, I don't know, I've had cats where that'll happen like once per year at a specific time. And always the fix is to try different foods with them, like human foods, and see, obviously make sure it's safe for cats, and then see if they'll eat that. And so Zaxby's was the one that works for her. Snowflake seems to really like things like, well, actually all food, basically. Snowflake used to try and steal French fries off of my plate, and I would have to take them away from her because that's bad for cats. But yeah, so last one. BlckAssn says, did Andrew take his Switch fans home? Hey, Andrew. Andrew, you forgot your Switch fans. Okay. All right, I let him know. Thank you for bringing that up. That was actually, I've been meaning to do that. He did leave them here, though, for real. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Oh, wait, you are. You're on Patreon, too. Post questions in the Discord. I'll see you all next time.